Hello, and a very warm welcome to the English Story Nook. We are so glad you could join us today. Today, we're diving into a story about finding courage and rediscovering who you are. It is a powerful story about personal strength, self-respect, and the journey of making brave choices for yourself. You will learn some important vocabulary about relationships and emotions. Before we dive in, if you enjoy our stories and want to support what we do, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and consider buying us a coffee. There's a link in the description below. Every like, subscription, and small contribution helps us keep creating great content for English learners like you. Let's get started. The suitcase weighed less without him. The small suitcase was almost full, but Susana de Lucia felt like she was packing for a trip to the moon, not a weekend visit to her friend Angela. Every item she chose felt like a small act of rebellion. The red dress Tommaso hated, the book he called silly, the headphones he said were antisocial. For the past 2 years, her life had been curated by his opinions. His control was often subtle. A quiet comment here, a disappointed look there. But lately, it had become a heavy weight. She felt completely overwhelmed by his constant need to know where she was and who she was with. The final argument had happened last night. She had been messaging her sister Anna when Tommaso walked in. "Who are you talking to so much?" he had asked, his voice casual, but his eyes were sharp. Before she could answer, he took the phone from her hands. As he scrolled through her messages, Susanna felt a familiar mix of anger and shame. "It's just my sister," she said, her voice small. He handed it back with a dismissive shrug. "You should have just told me." The incident was a classic example of his gaslighting. He made her feel guilty for a secret that didn't even exist. That night, she knew she needed space. She needed to remember who she was without his constant presence. The train ride to Angela's city was a breath of fresh air. Without the constant ping of Tommaso's messages, the world seemed quieter, calmer. She looked out the window, watching the countryside fly by, and realized she hadn't felt this peaceful in months. When she arrived, Angela Corrales gave her a long hug. "I'm so glad you came," she said, her warm smile making Susanna feel instantly safe. "You've been sounding so stressed on the phone." That evening, curled up on Angela's comfortable sofa with cups of tea, Susanna told her everything. She talked about the phone, the comments about her friends, and the way Tommaso always made her doubt her own feelings. "He's gaslighting you, Susanna," Angela said gently but firmly. "He twists everything to make you feel like you're the one with the problem. A partner should support you, not control you." Hearing the words spoken aloud was like a light turning on in a dark room. The feeling of being overwhelmed wasn't her fault. It was a reaction to his behavior. Angela continued, "And he never apologizes, does he? He never takes accountability for how he makes you feel." Susanna shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. It was true. Every argument ended with her apologizing, even when she had done nothing wrong. A healthy relationship required accountability from both sides, but theirs was a one-way street. Talking with Angela, away from Tommaso's influence, made her feel stronger, more clear-headed. She felt empowered. Tommaso called that night. His voice was sweet, full of apologies for their silly fight. He told her he missed her and that he had been worried. It was a subtle attempt to pull her back in, to make her feel guilty for leaving. A week ago, it would have worked. But now, his words sounded hollow. "I'm fine, Tommaso," she said, her voice steady. "I'm enjoying my weekend with Angela." There was a pause. "Well, don't have too much fun without me," he said, a hint of coldness in his tone. The mask was slipping. The rest of the weekend was a revelation. Susanna and Angela went to a museum, tried a new restaurant, and talked for hours. Susanna laughed more than she had in months. She was rediscovering the person she was before Tommaso had started chipping away at her confidence. She realized she didn't need his approval to enjoy her own life. This feeling of freedom was incredible. She felt truly empowered to make her own choices again. On Sunday evening, as she packed her suitcase, she knew she couldn't go back to the way things were. Tommaso called again, this time demanding to know when she would be home. The sweetness was gone, replaced by irritation. She took a deep breath. "I'm not coming back to the apartment, Tommaso," she said. "I'm going to stay with my sister for a while. We need to talk." He immediately started arguing, his voice rising. But Susanna didn't let him begin his usual cycle of gaslighting. "No," she said firmly. "I'm done. I won't be manipulated anymore. You need to take some accountability for your actions. But I won't be there to see it." She ended the call before he could reply, and then blocked his number. A week later, Angela helped Susanna move her things out of the apartment she had shared with Tommaso. As she packed her clothes, books, and personal items, the rooms felt strangely empty, but not sad. They felt peaceful. She lifted her suitcase to carry it to the car. It was the same one she had taken to Angela's, but this time it felt different. It was full of all her belongings, everything she owned. But as she walked out the door for the last time, she smiled. The suitcase weighed less without him. That's the end of our story for today. It was a powerful journey of self-discovery, wasn't it? We would love to hear your thoughts. What does it mean to be brave in your own life? Let us know in the comments below. Remember to check the description for some extra materials to help you practice the new words you learned today. Thank you for joining us at the English Story Nook. Keep practicing, stay curious, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Happy learning, and goodbye for now.